And more women breaking barriers, this time in space.
Yeah, we're talking about Sharon McDougle, who has blazed quite a trail with NASA. Known as a modern-day hidden figure, of course referring to the trailblazing group of African-American mathematicians who were vital during the early years of the space program. McDougle was the first African-American spacesuit technician, and her history of firsts don't stop there.
Yeah, now she's actually inspiring a new generation to shoot for the stars. And joining us now to talk about it is Sharon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, so Sharon, can you break down for us what a spacesuit tech does, how important this role is, especially one very important item?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. The most important item, of course, is the diaper, but we'll get to that. So I worked in the Space Shuttle Crew Escape Equipment Department. That's the orange launch entry suits that was worn by all astronauts that flew aboard Space Shuttle. And so that suit is for their protection in case they have an emergency aboard the rocket, or if they have to bail out, it'll help protect them in that scenario as well.
How important would you say that job is?
Very important, because our job actually started back up after the Challenger accident. Mind you, of course, we know that if you have an explosion, the suit isn't going to save you. So they started back wearing it because they needed more safety measures in place in case they had another incident. And so they went back to wearing the pressure suits after the Challenger accident. But of course, we know from the Columbia incident that it won't save you in an explosion.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Speaking of Columbia, you've suited up some notable people, including John Glenn and others. But you've also was one of the last people here on Earth for that Columbia crew to see. How tough was that?
Yeah. I wasn't assigned to that particular mission, but I was still working in the department. And so I have a story about that, though. It was very hard, you know, not only losing the whole crew, who we all grow close to because they trained for a year prior to actually launch in our suits. They trained for a year to get ready because we won't be in space, you know, to help them out. And so a story I have to share with you about that is Mike Anderson was on that mission. I had just spoken to Mike before he launched to ask him to be my guest at my Black program with the company that I work for. And he even said the word, as long as I make it back safe, I'll be there. And I just think about that all the time. Anytime that comes up, you know, it's like, that is so, it just, you know, it hurts your heart because you know these people, and then, you know, now you have people out looking for parts and pieces of the suit and anything else after the explosion. They were almost home, you know, they were almost home. I was watching on television. Ooh, I'm getting choked up. I was watching on television that morning, getting my daughter ready for her little basketball game. And I didn't think it was real when I saw it break up. I mean, they were almost home. They were so close. You know, most of the time things happen on launch, if it's going to happen, not during return.
Not during return.
Now, Sharon, we know that you actually faced some adversity early in your life, losing both of your parents before the age of 7. How do you feel that that has helped mold you into the person that you are today?
I think it helped a lot. You know, I lived with my oldest sister and her family, Jane, my oldest sister. And by me not being babied, you know, because, you know, when you got your mom, you're more cuddled and everything. And so by me having to grow up so quick, I think that definitely helped make me who the woman I am today, because I had to learn all of a sudden at 8 years old. Now I never done all these chores because I'm a number 9 of 12 kids. Wow. So I was always a little kid. You know? Yeah. So I never had to do anything. And now all of a sudden I have to learn everything, you know, from laundry to getting everybody ready for school to everything, and still go to school and do my own thing, you know. So school was my refuge. Yeah. And the teachers, of course, I can't say enough about school teachers, especially back then. If it wasn't for my school teacher, I really don't know what route I would have ended up taking.
Yeah, I can imagine. And right now, you're teaching so many kids. I saw you at Intrepid, and there was something that you said, and I'll screw up the quote, but you said, in order to see me, you can be me, or something along those lines.
Exactly. The kids have to see it. I didn't even know what a suit tech job was until I went in the Air Force. Right. So kids don't realize there's so many jobs behind the scenes with the space program. You don't have to be an astronaut. Not saying you don't have to aspire to do that, but you don't have to be an astronaut or a rocket scientist. It's so many behind the scene jobs, people have no idea. Like my husband is a scuba diver with the space program. Kids don't know that that's a job that they can do unless somebody go out and talk to them and tell them about it. And spacesuit technician. Yeah.
Yeah, another thing that is really extraordinary about your story is that you didn't go to college. It was kind of like the Air Force helped launch your career. So was that challenging to be a woman of color kind of climbing the ranks?
I like that pun, launched. No, it wasn't challenging at all. I was always judged on my merit and of my work. I never had any issues. I get asked that a lot because people just assume that you're going to have a lot of problems because you're the only black woman and everything.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have took that anyway. You know, I would have let them know.
Right.
They knew. They knew from the Air Force because there was already some Air Force guys there. The space shuttle program got the suits from the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I already knew how to work on it. Already knew everything. Hit the ground running when I got here. And it was just the most amazing career. 7 years in the Air Force with the SR-71 pilot suit. And then 22 years with the Space Shuttle program working with the same suit. So it was just, I'm blessed to have had such two amazing careers.
Love it.
We have your impressive resume called up on the scring right now, but you do have a book. It's called Suit Up for Lunch with Shay. What was the inspiration to write this children's book?
I always loved going out in the community and going to schools and events while I was still working there. And I would actually take a suit and pressurize, let the kids see it work and let them know that this, like I say, is a career option. And I always wanted to write a book. But while I was working there, I was scared it might be too much red tape. They might, you can't say this or that. So I was like, I'll just wait. And of course, I put it on the back burner. And we know what happened when you put stuff on the back burner. It burns up. So I forgot. I forgot about it, and then COVID hit. I was like, perfect time. A lot of authors and podcasters came out during COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just went ahead and put pencil to paper and wrote it. And getting it illustrated was the hardest part. Writing was no problem because I did it for almost 30 years.
It's true.
Well, Sharon, we thank you for joining us today, and thank you for the joy that you just exude and sharing your story
comes
today.
off the screen.
I still love my job. I always tell everybody I still go by trying to swipe my badge to get in.
All right. Well, to learn more about Sharon or to purchase her book, you can visit the website and on your screen or follow her on Instagram. You see the information right there on your screen
We can
as
talk to
well.
her forever. We'll be right back.